Hello and welcome, I'm your host KB, and welcome back to another wonderful edition of KB's Thoughts. A few years ago, I did a video covering the Where's Waldo / Where's Wally franchise and mentioned how I was a big fan of the original series. So it came as quite a surprise when I realized that I'd somehow missed out on the fact that there'd been a new Where's Waldo series released last year.
Adventure.
Ready, set, wander!
Has a name.
Waldo? Waldo?
Waldo?
Waldo! Where's Waldo?
Please note, I've only seen a handful of episodes and some clips online, so my opinions here are based just on what I've seen so far and not the entire run of the series. The series is produced by DreamWorks, who have a great reputation, having produced massive properties like Shrek and How to Train Your Dragon. Off the bat, the show has a number of changes from the original, starting with Waldo himself, who appears to be a lot younger here. He's joined by Wenda, and we find out the two Wanderers are part of a larger group of Wanderers led by the wizard Whitebeard. They travel the globe via a magical suitcase instead of a magical cane, and are given tasks to complete by Whitebeard, which often involve them tracking down a magical key. The main antagonist for the series is Odd Lulu, who takes the place of Oddlaw, and instead of trying to steal Waldo's magical cane, her main motivation is to get these magical keys. I don't mind the Oddlaw character being replaced by a female, but I think something is lost with this change, as Oddlaw was quite a slimy type of character, and seeing his plans backfire felt more satisfying. It would also lead to some pretty funny slapstick moments. With Odd Lulu, she's just not as unlikable as Oddlaw, and they seem to use her new sidekick, Fritz the Ferret, as the main comedic foil. While there is still some fantastical magical elements in the series, they seem to only travel to real-world destinations as opposed to the fantasy destinations of the original series. Now, from an adult's perspective, I definitely appreciate this change as it adds some educational value to the episodes as we learn different facts and customs about the countries and regions that they visit. But looking back, as a kid, I definitely appreciated and enjoyed seeing Wally or Waldo explore these different fantasy worlds.
Wow, look at that!
Victoria Falls, one of the widest waterfalls in the world and one of the world's wonders. Say that 3 times fast.
Something that's really improved on is the Where's Waldo scenes, which are busy scenes like in the books where you look for Waldo or Wally. In this series, it feels way more organic, as Waldo will disappear only to be found in a larger scene, usually doing something that relates to the story, but it's just being done off screen.
Over here, Wenda. Maybe there is a way we can help each other.
Waldo? What is that?
I call it the Waldo Quintuple Bikeinator.
The original series version of this felt much more like a gimmick with the timer and everything. I did enjoy those scenes as a kid, but seeing it done here, it makes much more sense from a storytelling standpoint. While these scenes do occur more frequently during each episode, they aren't as epic visually, but I think this is due to them having actual animated elements instead of just being a static image, which I think is pretty cool. Wizard Whitebeard feels a little more like a crazy uncle than a wizard in this series, but he's definitely a more entertaining character. I love the fact that his beard is kind of like an added limb, as it does give him a magical vibe and adds a more comedic element to him. I'm not familiar with the voice talent used, but they all do a solid job. I do find myself missing the narrator voice from the original series, as he was a great character in his own right and added a lot of fun to the series. Production-wise, the show is fantastic, it's got solid animation, and the overall look of the show feels more like an animated children's book illustration as opposed to the more generic cartoon animation which feels overly abundant these days. The show is definitely different from the books and from the original series, but I think that's a positive here as it gives it its own identity. It has a very catchy, albeit short intro and theme song, but I personally still prefer the original.
Where do you go, Waldo? I'll search the world for you.
There were some differences between the UK Where's Wally and the North American Where's Waldo releases of the original series, but it was really just the name and theme song changes as the episodes were otherwise identical. For this new series, they have a completely unique voice cast for the UK series, which I think is really interesting. The Where's Wally series is listed online as releasing in 2020, but I couldn't find any info confirming whether or not it's actually started airing yet, and I could only find this one clip showcasing the different voice cast.
Let us go to the Wonder Globe! Pack your bags with imagination
Excuse me, coming through.
and hold on to your stripes.
It's really amazing.
Reboots are usually met with mixed emotion, which is a fair point as they can be done right or they can be done terribly wrong. In the case of this franchise, I think the property warrants a reboot as the original series is basically forgotten about due to being cancelled after only one season. It makes sense for them to do something new with the property, considering that the book series remains a success after all these years. So far, it appears to be working, as the show has received pretty good feedback, and the series is already into its second season. All in all, it's a pretty good series, and definitely worth checking out if you're an old school Where's Wally or Where's Waldo fan. It was originally reported that the series would be released on Netflix, but from what I can see online, the series was only made available on Universal Kids streaming platform, which unfortunately I don't have access to, so hopefully we see it come to other streaming platforms sometime in the future.
Anywhere you go, I'll find you. Where do you go, where do you go? Where's Waldo?
Once again, KB Watchers, thank you very much for watching this episode of KB's Thoughts. Please check out the playlist, like, blah blah, all that stuff. And as always, I'll catch you guys next time.